right, guys, today we are doing a lift kit. Cross members, springs, some shackles, brackets, just your basic lift kit stuff. We sent it to the stripper to be stripped, came back, blasted it. We are doing a color called Lite Peacock, which is a metallic teal color, requires a clear. I have that, the cart with the cross members and some spacers on it in the oven right now, preheating. I got the oven set at 375, which is what the clear cure's at. So we're going to get started right now, and we're going to show you how to put Lite Peacock on a lift kit and then clear it when we're done. Stay tuned. All right, guys, we're here to put the base on this stuff. It's hot now. Got to get started. Got a lot of little areas to get into. So we're going to fly right now. Well, we got to have our light on. Light hat is important to be able to see what we're doing. So basically right now, I'm going to go around and cut all of this in. Just get a real quick light coat on it. You're not looking to make a masterpiece right now. We're just trying to get it, the color on it. That's all we need. You don't want to put too much right here, but you want to make sure you get all the corners and the nooks and crannies while you have heat in it. I preheated this at 375. It was probably in there, I don't know, 35 or 40 minutes. And this is where, you know, getting inside the cross member is paramount. It's this is the point where if you're going to get it, you're going to get it now. You know, I mean, I guess you could do it cold and hammer it in there and hope it gets it all, but I would rather know it's going to get it and make it go where I want it to go. You know, I mean, why work harder than you need to? The heat is your friend, but you just can't, you know, act like a fool when you got it hot. You can't just get down on it and make it all gloopy and stuff. And see what I'm doing now is I'm getting at the bottom and getting inside the cross member at the bottom. It's important to get all this now if you can get it. I know I keep saying that, but that's the name of the game here. That's the whole reason why we're doing this high, is to be able to cover the part and know that we got it covered. Okay, that baby's covered inside now. So now we're going to go on to the next one, which is over here. We're going to do the same thing. I like to shoot them in from the ends. There's a little pocket here. You got to spray down in that. And I just like to put a real quick coat, just enough to cover up the metal. If it looks kind of light to you and a little grainy, you did your job perfectly. Because that's what it's supposed to look like when it's not a lot on it. And the idea here is just to get it covered. And then when we come back and put a dust coat on it is when we're going to get a little more film thickness. And what the dust coat's going to do a couple of things for us. It's going to give us film thickness, and it is going to even out the metallics. I don't know where I was going with that. I got sick week on in the background, and I didn't realize it was as loud as it is. So if you hear stuff in the background, I need to turn that down, but that's what it is. I can't, for some reason, I can't go on without listening to it for some reason. All right, same thing as the other side. We're going to get down and look up. Make sure we get all the choppers and little spots where it don't want to go. Once you get them, you got them. And usually on your next coat, it goes in there quite nicely because you already have a coat on it. I don't understand that phenomenon, but I'm telling you that it's a thing. Once you get a coat on it hot, it seems, oh man, it seems like it recoats pretty easily. Give a little inspection, that's plenty. Okay. Now we're going to go to these spacers. These things got a lot of little areas that are kind of suck, but It's not bad. It's not bad at all. All right. Hopefully I'm not running out of material. I'm going to lose my heat if I got to refill this cup. I was going to hold the camera during this, but as you see, I got like a nutsack swinging off of my thing here, and I can't really do it. I got to have two hands to control the hose and the cup. So I wanted to try something a little different. Was my plan. But that got thwarted once I realized I had to spray out of the cut. I'm like, I mean, I could have sprayed it out of a hopper. I do have a teal hopper. It's just, it has another color in it that I do a lot. So I just decided to go out of the cut. And whoop. And it's about, I don't know, 30 degrees outside. This is Florida. That's very abnormal, but it's what it is. And I don't know if you noticed, I'm still in here with t-shirt and shorts on. It's freaking hot in here. I got all the doors shut and the oven running. I was like, oh, this is going to be nice. Yeah, it's nice for about an hour. But then it's too hot. And I keep having to open the door and vent the place. But it's a good business for the wintertime. You're in a cold climate. Well, what I suggest you do in a cold climate in Florida, like here, I can blast all the stuff the day before when there's still a little heat in the day and you're not in the blast room freezing. And then the next morning, I'll hang it all up and get busy. I can turn the oven on right at 9 o'clock in the morning or 8 whenever I get here, and we're off to the races. But if you don't do that, then you get to come in and freeze while you blast. So there's little tips of working in the cold. That's what I did yesterday with this, because it was, like I said, 30 degrees outside. I don't want to go over there and blast when it's 30 degrees. But when it was 50 or 60 yesterday afternoon, that's blasting weather. So that's what we did. All right, so what we're going to do now is we're going to let this cool down. Okay, we need to let it be below 150. There's a well dingleberry right on there, man. Damn. That's not on me, but I just have to knock that off of there. I can't do it. It's like right on the edge. Okay, we're going to knock that dingleberry off of that. But anyway, we are going to wait for this to cool, get down below 150, and we're going to dust it up again. We're going to put another coat on it. We'll be in good shape then. All righty. We'll come back and show you a little bit of dusting, and then after that, we get to clear it. All right, this gives you an idea about, I want to show you something about the hot coat. See how that's melted? It almost looks like it's been through the oven. It has not. That's just the hot coat. See how that looks melted? All right, now we're going to come over here. See how it's melted but grainy? It's got a lot of texture to it. It was cooling. See how this one has even more texture to it? I sprayed that one next. Then I came over here. This one is not fully melted, but it is melted a little bit. See how that looks? Okay, but then this one is almost still powdery, but melted a little bit. See that? So those are the stages that the part will go through as it cools, what it looks like. Okay, when this comes out of the oven, none of it will look any different, because what we're fixing to do right now is we're going to dust everything up. We're going to put another light coat or a coverage coat on everything. And then it goes in the oven, and all this is one after that. So just wanted to show you that real quick so you understood. If you're doing this at home or you're doing this at your shop and it looks a little rough and funky, don't sweat it. It's all good. You know, don't try to make it smooth is what I'm saying. If you try to make, let's say this, okay, look like this, you're going to put so much on there that when you pull it out of the oven, it's going to be drooling down here. Don't do it. Just cover it. That's all you got to do. Get the color on the metal. That's it. Don't worry about the surface. Don't worry about any of that. None of that matters right now. I know that's hard to do because you're a little new at this maybe, and It just, that's the steps that it goes through. If I were to take this in the oven and put it in the oven right now and pull it out, you would not be able to tell the difference between any of this. It would all look the same when it comes out. But what I want to do is make sure I got good coverage and that my metallics are even. Then I've got varying stages of hotness going on here. You know, it's like going to the beach. There's varying stages of hotness there. You know, so this is one of the things that you have to learn about powder coating and the beach. Keep that in mind. All right, guys, we're back. We're going to dust this thing up. We got her down to about $1.40. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do the outside of this first. What I mean by the outside is I'm not going to stick the gun inside here until I have the outside done. The reason why I'm doing that is because the gun, or it'll freak it out a little bit. And sometimes when you get the gun close to the metal and then you try to coat it afterwards, it resists going in that spot. So what you do to combat that is coat it first. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you get the gun too close, it will push the powder off the part. It will do that. There is that phenomenon. The Faraday cage stuff does that. So keep that in mind. But we're not diving in there. We're just trying to get a good, nice dust coat on this. You know, from afar, let's call it. You know, you got to maintain that you're 6 to 8, maybe even a foot, depending on how it's working. You'll notice I'll run into an area where it doesn't go, and I'll pull the gun back. And that's generally, it makes it go right in there. Sometimes a little swishes will do it. All right, now I'm going to go from the bottom and make sure I shoot the bottom of this and get that surface covered also before we try going inside. And also what this does is mostly covers the inside before you ever get there. Okay? So you're not really having to stick the gun down in there. You want to try to avoid that. Some guns, this does. I don't use it. They have what's called deep recess, where you are supposed to be able to stick the gun in the part. It doesn't really work too good for me, I notice. But this seems to work pretty good. If you do the outside, and then sometimes I gotta just puff it. You see that technique? Instead of running the gun and keeping the voltage on when you get there, right? Get the gun there and give it a little puff or two. Sometimes you have to hold the trigger for a second. Depends on how fast your gun turns on the electric, you know, the electrostatic part of the gun. Some guns blow a little powder and then turn on the electrostatic part, and you have to wait for that to happen. All right, this one's looking really good. I don't see any shining in the corners. The metallics are even. Just for giggles, we'll come back and just do a real quick drop coat on the faces. I call it a drop coat. They don't call it that in powder coating. That's a paint term. So if you're at your shop and you call it a drop coat and your boss looks at you like you're an idiot, that's why. Say, no, I've been watching Mike's videos and he calls it a drop coat. And your boss will say, well, yeah, that guy's an idiot. So I don't know what you're watching him for. Entertainment purposes, apparently. So we're going to do the same thing to this one. I'll bet you couldn't have guessed that, could you? You couldn't have guessed that we were just going to do the same thing again? No. Yeah, and I forgot to knock that dingleberry off, so we're powder coating dingleberries today. Damn. Not real happy about that, but all of the people who I do work for, they all know that I do not do any of the metal work. I'm not sanding, drilling, grinding on your part. I'm just not doing it. I used to, and I got burned. So I says, yeah, drill some holes, just drill them right here. Well, I drilled them right where he said to drill them, at least where I thought where he said to drill them. Well, guess what? That wasn't really where he wanted them. And he held my feet to the fire on that, made me replace the part. So no more. And, you know, I replaced the part, and that was that. After that, I'm like, we're not doing that anymore. You know, you got to protect yourself when you're in business. You know, like I said, I don't like doing things unless they're guaranteed things. Okay, it has to be a guaranteed thing. If there's any risk involved in the job, I don't like it. I don't like it. What am I going to do? Am I going to bid it for doing it twice? Can't do that. I mean, well, I guess you could just give it back if you don't have to do it twice, but it's, you know how that sounds when you go to a powder coater and the powder coater says, hey, you know, I might have to do this 2 or 3 times to get it right. And most of the time it's the color, or the color in combination with the part. You know, like if you were doing this in a transparent color, good luck. Good luck with that. You let me know how that turns out for you. It's not a guaranteed enough thing for me to do it. I'm not doing it, because if I know there's not a payday at the other end of the rainbow, I ain't down with it. You know what I mean? I'm going through all this work and there's no payday involved in it? Nah. When I got to do it all over? Nah. Can't do it. Now, do I try to do transparency on my own stuff? And can I do them? Yes. But there's also this thing where I can just say, oh, I can live with that. That's no problem. It's a little heavy on that edge, or a little, you know, light in that corner, or whatever it happens to be. I can live with it. But the problem is I can't send somebody else out the door with that. No, can't do it. My standards are kind of high for finishing jobs. I don't really like to play games with it. All right, so now we're down to dusting these spacers up. I'm narrating stuff you guys can see. I mean, just tell us the sky's blue, Mike. You know, tell us the grass is green. Well, sometimes I'll just say the dumbest shit. But as you see, we got that dusted up. Bang, 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 bang. She's looking good. There's so many little spots around these things where there could be nothing, but for some reason there's not. I want to go around and just check them all. If you don't look and you don't take the time to look at what you've done, there's a possibility that just this could have been the difference between having a light spot and not. You know what I mean? I mean, it drives me nuts, man. I couldn't get my guys to look. I'm like, looking don't even take any effort. You're just looking. I mean, I don't understand. I'm one of those people, this is like a permanent thing. It's like I don't want to call it permanent, but it is. It's one of those things you put it on and it's costly. It's costly to take it off, put it that way. Whether you got to strip it, blast it, burn it, whatever you're doing, it costs money to take it off. And I didn't bid that into it. You know what I mean? I mean, if it needed stripped in the beginning, of course I bid that into it. But I didn't bid into it, screwing it up, and then stripping it and redoing it. Oh, no. Nope. All right, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to do my patented turn the light off. Hope y'all ain't scared of the dark. If you are, cover your eyes. Well, when you do that, it's going to be dark anyway, so maybe that ain't going to work. Stare into the light, maybe? I don't know. All right, here we go. Yeah, how is that? People that are scared of the dark, can you not close your eyes? I mean, because I don't know about you, but every time I close my eyes, it gets dark. So I never understood that. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, if this don't show every little thing that, you know, there ain't one single spot that's ugly. And you can really see, because you got the light on your head and there's no other light, I can tell the metallics are even. And that's another thing that I'm looking for. 2 things I'm looking for right here on the metallic. Shiny spots and the metallics being modeled. Okay, if you see groups of silver spots on the part, oh no. You need to dust coat it from a distance. This material doesn't really want to model, because I drop coated that one and I did not drop coat this one, and I don't need to drop coat it. I can look at it and tell. I've been doing this long enough, I can tell you that it's going to be perfect. All right, well, that'll be that. I mean, That wasn't very exciting, was it? You know, maybe I should do fireworks in the background or rockets or something. I got to do something. Make this a little more exciting. All right. I appreciate it. We'll show you when we get to the clear. We're going to come out of the dark too. All right, guys, we're back to do the clear, and we're going to get down on it right now. This is one of those things you want to kind of maintain your distance a little bit, let the gun do the work. Y'all are in the way. I don't know why I put the camera right in the way, but it's only in the way right here. We'll be all right. You'll see there's little corners down there you don't want to go into. Just ignore that. Go around, shoot the rest of it, and you'll notice that most of that will get when you go around to the other areas, because you're at different angles and different. On the little parts like this, if it doesn't really want to go, I kind of move on a little bit. You know what I mean? Maybe it'll go in at another angle. If it doesn't, I mean, you're gonna have to fight it in there. But most of the time, especially with all the modern powders, man, they're ground properly. You ever wonder what makes a powder spray different than another one? I mean, other than the raw material that's in the powder and how it charges, that's one thing. But it's the grind of the powder. It's how they grind it. And you'd think, well, it needs to be fine or it needs to be coarse. No, it needs to be a mix. It needs to be a mix of fine and coarse. And it tends to work better. But then if you have too much coarse, you tend to get a grainy surface. If you have too much fine, it tends to not build. So it's just one of those things that after a while, if you'll look into it enough. I have a chemist that I use for like duplicating powders that are either too expensive, or the reason I met him is I was doing a job a long time ago that the company is based in Europe. Well, they put things in their powders that we can't have here, so I can't even import the real color. You know what I mean? So I was forced to go and duplicate the look of the material and the color using a chemist. And this guy nails stuff, man. I mean, God. But he's a real deal dude, though. He does like the gas mask, something spectrometer deal on it, and they'll tell you everything that's in it. And it's pretty cool to understand when you think you know it all about powder, don't say it. Please don't say it out loud. Don't say, oh, I've seen it all. Oh, Lord. Don't do it. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the universe will show you something that you ain't never seen. I mean, I used to say it, but I don't do it no more. I used to be like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. No. Hush with all that, because you got the bad juju. You don't want to say it. I've had some weird things. So one of the things I had happen that was kind of weird was I was doing this was a while back, I was using a PPG material that was a satin or a flat black. And when I put the first coat on, like, you guys see me spray this stuff before. I put the first coat on, and then I threw it in the oven for a short time and pulled it back out and double coated it. Well, it was a flat material or a satinish material that smokes when it cures. Well, when it smoked under the first coat, it bubbled, big bubbles. I mean, and this was an airboat rigging. This is a fairly large part. Wasn't something that was like, oh, I just redo that. Oh, man. But I did redo it. But it bubbled. I was like, what the hell? And you could go up and you could break the bubble, right? When you broke the bubble, smoke came out of the bubble. But then there was a coat under it. It wasn't bare metal. The first coat stayed down on the metal. And when it smoked, it lifted the second coat. And there was smoke in between the two. It was, I'm telling you. So don't say I've seen it all, because that's the kind of shit that'll happen to you. just, you know, respect the rules and do what you do. That's what I do. It doesn't really matter what part it is. I don't know if you've been watching the channel long enough, you'd be like, God, this guy just does the same thing to everything. Ah, you're starting to catch on, are you? It doesn't matter what the part is. The part, it doesn't really matter. Honestly, I mean, it does to a certain extent on how you shoot it and the countermeasures that you take. But for reals, not really. I just do the same process to every piece of metal. If it's aluminum, it's a little bit different than if it's steel, than if it's, of course, you know, aluminum's softer, so it gets beat up more in the blaster. So I sand it before I coat it. That's one of the things about aluminum that is different. But other than that, from that point forward, it's identical. Everybody is like, oh, this is how to powder coat aluminum. This is how to powder coat steel. How about how to powder coat everything? Powders don't change it. I don't know. I guess you could if you had bad results, but I don't tend to get. I can do a cart of 4 different kinds of metals, and you can't tell it at the end. You're like, this is all the same thing. Well, not really, but yes, it is now, and that's the point of it, I guess. But they can be different, okay? Because man, I wanted to talk about this in a curing video. I'm going to briefly touch on it, okay? There's 2 ways, okay, to make powder. Well, I shouldn't say it that way. Let's not say 2 ways. The way to make powder coating smooth, okay, with no orange peel, no nothing, is to heat it up as fast as you can possibly heat it up, okay? So one of the reasons why the Ollie double works whoa, I lost my damn hose. Woo! Hose alert, hose alert. But one of the reasons why it, I forgot what I was talking about now. And I lost my hose and it done distracted me. But I know what I was talking about. The way that you make powder smooth is how fast you heat the part on it, okay? So that's one of the reasons why the Ollie double works the way it does, is because you're actually putting the second coat on while the part's a little warm, okay? So let's say I spray this, it's 150 degrees, and I roll in the oven, it's 130. It's got a head start on 80 degrees. And I'm going to tell you, don't spray anything bone cold. That's another reason, because there you go. It gives you a little insight as to what I think about as I do this type of stuff. And we're just about done with this. This is going to go in the oven. It needs to come to metal temperature to 375 and be held there for 18 minutes. On my base coat, when I put it in there on the second coat where it was cold, fairly cold, it took, I sprayed it within the 100 in the teens, like 119 or 118, I think it was. So that's why I sprayed it. So that being said, I set the timer for 8 minutes and everything came out at 340. So I know that 8 minutes, it'll heat to 340. So I'm going to call it 10 minutes. I'm going to set a timer for 10 minutes. And then I'm going to check the part with the non-contact infrared thermometer to see what the temperature is. Okay, when I get the part to 375, then I start the clock for 18 minutes and cure it. Bake it out. The lip parts need to be, all powder coating needs to be cured properly. Okay, that's very, very important. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to throw this in the oven and we're going to pull it up 375, set it for 18 minutes, and we're going to stick a fork in it because it's done. All right, we're going to go to the glamour shots. The rest of the glamour shots, I showed you a little of the other parts I did earlier today. There's no reason to walk through all of this stuff. I mean, you get the idea, right? Hopefully you got the idea. If not, you know the good thing about YouTube? You could always rewind it and watch it again. If you didn't quite get it or you think you missed something, there you go. I want to add a little something. I'm going to talk about something in a minute. I got into it, but I didn't want to get too deep, and I feel like I'm leaving you hanging. All right, so I was talking about the powder being smooth and how fast you heat the part up and why the Ollie Double does what it does, okay? So there's the inverse of that I have ran into. The little oven that I have, we actually built it and it's overfired. So it's got a 400,000 BTU burner on something that's 8 by 8 by 11. So it's a little hot, okay? That oven has the ability, especially on thin aluminum stuff, 1/8 inch aluminum stuff. It has the ability to heat the part up actually too fast. And what I mean by that is this. There is the possibility, if the oven can do it, okay, and it's a thin part, that you could go through melt and flow so fast into gel that the powder doesn't have time to self-level and it'll be grainy, okay? That's too fast of a ramp, okay? And you'll notice that if you have thin parts that are rougher than your thick parts, maybe they flow out kind of smooth, but your thin parts are rough. That means the oven's bringing the thin parts up to temp too fast and it doesn't have enough time to flow out. Okay, keep that in mind. Now, if you have the inverse of that, which is your thin parts are glass smooth and your thick parts are, have more orange peel in them, then what you can do is this, especially on clears and things like that. The cure temperature is 375 for this. I could very easily set that oven at 400 degrees, okay? Set a timer for, let's say, 8 minutes. And then I'm going to go. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that the part temperature doesn't go over 375, okay? The air temperature in the oven makes zero difference. It does not matter. The air is just a vessel to get the heat to the part. That's it, okay? The hotter the air is, the faster the part will heat up, okay? So you could do this. You could set your oven at 420, let's say 400. I wouldn't go 420. Well, you could. You can do whatever temp you want, really, but even if you set it at 400, let's say on a 375 cure powder, I set it at 400, I throw it in the oven and I soak it up to, let's say I temp it and it's at 370. I nailed it, I caught it, right? Then I run outside and I lower the temp to 375 and I soak it, okay? What that does, it gets the part hotter faster and makes the powder smoother, okay? And you just got to get to know your oven, what your oven can and can't do. Here, I kind of have to throttle back the thin stuff and let the thick stuff just cook. You understand what I'm saying? So what I'll do is I'll ramp the thin stuff. I'll set the oven at maybe 340 and bring it up, and don't let it get to 370 and ramp it up. You understand what I'm saying? If I need it to be glass smooth. All right, we're going to put this in the oven and I'll show you what it looks like. It's going to look a lot like what you just saw, but it's different parts. And you got to see these be sprayed, so we're going to show them to you. All right, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. I appreciate all the feedback. If you have any questions on what I'm doing, don't hesitate to drop down in the box down there. Put the blue down in the bottom there, and I try to answer all the questions, even if they're stupid questions. The way I look at it is when I started, I asked, well, it's not a stupid question, it's a basic question, let's say. Okay, I'll answer them all. It doesn't matter. I'm not discriminatory. I'll answer anything. It doesn't matter. Well, most anything about powder coating. Don't be getting weird. All right, this is the internet. All right, so we're gonna put this in there, show you what it looks like. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Yes, you can powder coat springs. Yes, it stays on there just fine. This is a metallic color that was cleared. Color is called Lite Peacock. Even though these are the same color, this don't go to this job. These are Ollie's mom's earrings. Well, these two are her earrings. That's her nose ring. Well, we ain't going to talk about that one. All right. So, but if you ever have to do your buddy's mom's earrings, this is how you mask them. You see how that is? Just thread it in backwards. It gets everything. It masks everything you need to mask, and it powder coats everything you need to powder coat. Sweet.